What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FallenRedZeo. I'm back with more Marvel Legends, and this time we have the Super Villains wave featuring the Build-A-Figure of Xemnu. So this is an awesome wave full of villains and all comic book inspired. So this is a way I'm probably really going to enjoy because the comic books are my favorite, and getting an entire wave of villains is awesome on top of that. So starting off first, we have Dr. Doom, and his style is God Emperor Doom, so that is awesome. And then we've got Dormammu, which we saw in like the Doctor Strange movie, and the Hood, which is a new character I've never heard of. And there we start seeing our Xemnu pieces. And then we've got Lady Deathstrike and Arcade, which again is another figure I've never seen or heard of before. And finally, we have Red Skull and A.I.M Scientist Supreme. So all very cool looking figures. I like how we kind of get villains that go with like main Marvel characters, which is pretty awesome. So we get a lot of villains to fight against our good guys, but all a very awesome looking wave. And if we look around on the back, we have the Xemnu there that we're going to build. It just looks like a giant Sasquatch figure almost, but very awesome looking wave overall. Nice artwork on the boxes. Just so much cool stuff about this wave. So I'm excited to open it and check it out. So let me get them out of the box and we'll check each figure out together. So starting off with the Dr. Doom, or the God Emperor Doom, as when he's wearing the white like this, he is the ruler of Battle World, which is a part of the comics and everything. So he looks pretty awesome here in the all white. I always love when they take a figure and throw him in white. It just makes him look super awesome, like they did with Magneto and now Dr. Doom at this instance. So it looks pretty awesome. Of course, looks like the same Dr. Doom we've got multiple times, which I will show that. So nothing really new going on. Like the underneath is pretty much all the same. Like they did change some of his like center chest plate here. It's a little more smooth out, of course, with the old ones though. It had a covering on it, so it's not like it's really noticeable, but the face looks pretty much the same, and the rest of the body looks like the knight's armor and everything he always has. So like I said, they reused a lot of the same body for this, so it's not technically a new Dr. Doom, it's just in the white version this time. So it has the same hood as before. His cape's a little bit different, with the material in the front hanging down there to the back in the all white, and then has the white skirting around his waist, but everything else is pretty much the same. So for movements, his head can twist all the way around, and he can look that far down and up, just pretty much straight on. I can't really get it to go back because of the hood, but some decent movements there, and has a little bit of tilt side to side. Shoulders can come up 90 degrees. It kind of gets stuck, but if you kind of push it down on it and lift it up, it comes up to 90 and can rotate around within there, but of course the cape's in the way. We get a bicep twist, a double elbow joint that bends up that far, wrist twist around and flex back and forth. We have a bit of an ab crunch twist, but it's at the midsection, so it can crunch back and forth a little bit. It is real stiff. Doesn't really move a whole lot in there, but can twist all the way around at the waist. Under the skirting, of course, we have the hips, so the hips can come up 90 degrees out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, so really good for a suit of armor. And then the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So as I said, pretty good movements overall, especially for a suit of armor technically, so it's really decent movements. So as you can see there on this side of his hip, he does have a little holster, so we have the holster like the other figures have had with the Dion, of course, for Doom. And inside we do have a gun, so we do have a little silver pistol that looks like a Luger that you can put into his hands. And speaking of, he does come with some extra hands, so we have a hand there with the trigger finger, so you can use that gun, and then we also have a fist hand, because it kind of comes up with like some magic hands. Funny enough, this is like the only Dr. Doom we have that doesn't have like the robotic metal hands that go with his armor. Of course, it makes sense because he is wearing the white gloves and everything. And then we also get an additional grip hand here, which looks really cool, especially because you can use it with this skull and spine that you can have Dr. Doom holding, and it looks super awesome. So we can get this around the neck and he can be holding up a spine. So it's almost like Mortal Kombat where you rip someone's spine out and everything. So let me try and get this into his hands. So there I got Dr. Doom claiming a victory in battle, holding the spine up in the air, and that just looks awesome there. And as I mentioned, we do have the other Dr. Dooms to compare it to. Again, they all share pretty much the exact same body, same outfit and stuff. They just changed the cape up a little bit on the new one, and obviously it all being white, but the body armor is the same. Faces look almost similar between these two as well, since this one's supposed to be that retro version, so it has the classic style. So again, this is a reused Dr. Doom, so they didn't have to change a whole lot between the ones they already had, just changed it to white mostly. And next up we have Dormammu, and this figure looks awesome. Of course, Dormammu is the archenemy of Doctor Strange, and he is an interdimensional entity composed of mystical energy and kind of lives in the dark dimension. So overall, this figure looks cool. Of course, this is based more off like the classic look for Dormammu, and again, as he appeared in like the Doctor Strange comics from back in the day, but just looks pretty awesome. So overall, I really like the colors of this, with like the red, the purple, of course that bright yellow stands out there, and then of course the flame head just looks awesome. So you can see the flame head there, so it has the face kind of similar to how we saw it in the Doctor Strange movie, where it had like the wrinkly style face, almost reminds me of like Baron Zemo with the lines all down, but you can see the eyes and the mouth there. And then of course the head's all in flame there, so we have all the flames going around, and then he does have this like crown or something around his face, which is really weird because it just sticks right into the bottom of his chin, and then kind of goes up around his face, so it is real loose and can fall off easily, so we may have to glue that in or something just so it doesn't fall out. But it's a nice like little framing effect there to go around his face, makes it stand out a little bit more. Then he has like this red collar and chest piece, so I like the spikes coming out the side, nice red color, nice red spikes there all around his neck. Then he has the all purple outfit, which looks really nice there, again that yellow belt. Red gloves on his hands with some more little spikes there around the top and down to the legs to the red boots where he does have the spikes at the top as well, and then the little star designs all around it. So not the most intricate design, but definitely fits for that old classic comic book style where characters were just very basic and pretty much a suit with a little bit of like accessories on top. But for movements, his head can twist around in there. His crown thing just fell off, but his head can twist around in there and just nods up and down and a little twist side to side. The shoulders can come up 90 degrees and rotate around within there. Bicep twist, double elbow joint that's a little bit stiff, but it can fold up on itself, so really good. And the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. We have an ab crunch in the midsection there, so you can crunch forward and crunch back and twist all the way around at the waist. Hips can come up 90 degrees out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. Double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, so he's close to kicking his own butt. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. Now we will see this body again, as it does share the same body with the Red Skull, so they are the exact same. So as you'll see, the Red Skull has the section there around its waist and stuff. We'll see that on the Red Skull. So all the body's the same, obviously just the little spikes around the gloves and the boots, and of course the head will be different. Now for accessories, he comes with additional hands, so he has two hands, almost like trigger finger hands. I don't know why, since he doesn't have any guns, but again, since it does share the body with the Red Skull, that's probably why. Lady comes with some additional fist hands there, and then also some like grippy hands, but could be used for like his magic hands. And speaking of, we also get some flame effects, so it can be like he's conjuring some flames. So let's switch out his hands and put on these flames. So there, I got the hands switched out and the flames on him, so that just looks awesome for Dormammu. I really like this. And of course, we do have the older Dormammu that's like, I believe, a Build-A-Figure, so you can see it's much bigger. But again, this is much more of the classic comic look compared to the newer comic look. And I think I like the new one a lot more. And next up we have the Hood, which is a weird looking figure and a character I've never heard of before, so it was new to me, but I think he just looks really weird with the cape, especially with the hood and cape design, especially when you stand him on the ground. Is a little bit too long, so you have to kind of get it like pushed back, because if not, it just sits on top, so it kind of sits up over his head there. But I think if you push it down on there, I think it looks a lot better, but again, if you just stand him, he kind of lifts up. So we have to do some working with this hood to be able to get it to stay on him. But the Hood is Parker Robbins, and he had turned to a life of crime following his father's death, and while out on a job, he came across an Ashanti demon that he ended up killing and stole his hood and boots and gained the powers from them. So really all his powers comes from the hood, hence giving him his name. So without this hood on it, it's really just a normal guy, so the hood looks pretty awesome. The hood can just stand there by itself as well, so it's like it could almost be its own entity. So it reminds me of like Doctor Strange's cape stuff. Has some gold designs there on the front for like the clasp and stuff. Of course, has just like that classic cape texture to it that all the capes have and stuff, so very nice. And then all tattered down there at the bottom, so it is awesome that it could like stand there on its own. But the figure itself looks pretty nice. You know, it could be a nice figure for customizing, you know, just throw another figure's head on there. Could be a Peter Parker or used for like a Stan Lee head or something. So just a nice basic human figure that you could just do anything with. But there's the face of Peter Robbins. The hair design looks really nice though with the black hair. Then we got his outfit, so he has this blue jacket on the top, white shirt on underneath, green pants with a brown belt to the brown shoes, which like I said, supposedly when he killed the demon, he took his boots as well, but it doesn't look like he's wearing the boots. And the boots allow him to like airwalk, as it said, which is pretty much like a levitation. And then the cape allows for invisibility and teleportation, and so it gives him his powers, because otherwise he's just a normal human. So for the figure's movements, his head can twist all the way around. He can look down that far and up that far, so really good movements, but it's kind of stiff neck. Shoulders can come up 90 degrees, rotate all the way around. Bicep twist, double elbow joint that can bend up that far. Wrist twist around and flex back and forth. Ab crunch in the midsection, so he crunch that far forward, that far back, again, jacket's in the way, and he can twist all the way around at the waist. Hips come up 90 degrees, out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. Double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So the figure's pretty decent overall, not issues with movements or anything, but again, it just looks like your normal human, so it's nothing really that interesting. So definitely adding the cape onto him makes it stand out more, but like I said, with just the cape design, it's just too long in the back, so that's unfortunate, so it doesn't fit on him properly. But I do like that color combination of the red, the blue, into the green. I like it stands out, and, you know, is a little bit unique and everything with those colors. And since Peter Robbins was a criminal, he does come with some guns, so we can put these into his hands. So there we got the guns, and with him taking the hood, he also got powers of magic, so with that, he can use magic to be able to shoot from his guns, so he has these magic effects that go on the end of the guns, and so it's supposed to be like controlling his magic and stuff, and fires it out through the guns instead of bullets. So we have these awesome magic effects with like the bullet in the center and a flame of fleck going around them, but you just slide them on the end of the gun. So I got the magic coming out of the end of the guns. Unfortunately, they are a little bit heavy. They are kind of like limping down, so can't really get them to shoot straight on or anything, so that's unfortunate, but I still think it looks pretty awesome, especially with the cape and the effects coming out of the guns and stuff, just adding that magic detail into it. So I think overall the hood it does look pretty good. Not like the greatest figure or character ever, but still something pretty unique. And next up, we've got Lady Deathstrike. So I know this is a figure a lot of people are interested in because it's finally a new Lady Deathstrike in many years, and I think she looks pretty good as well. So she is a classic X-Men villain, especially for Wolverine. Her real name is Yuriko Oyama, and she ended up going to Spiral, which is another X-Men villain, body shop to get adamantium bound to her skeletons, very similar to Wolverine, and to get cybernetic enhancements to her body. So she has a lot of enhancements similar to him. So overall, she looks pretty good, you know, pretty much like your normal Lady Deathstrike, white shirt underneath with the brown outfit on over the top that goes all the way up her shoulders and down the legs, red like underwear there in the center, her red hair coming out of the back, and then the hat on over the top of that with the brown and red designs. You can see there on her chest some of the cybernetics, and especially running down her arms there into her hands where she's got these really long fingers with claws that can extend out to at least a foot, and again, their claws very similar to Wolverine with adamantium, so she can use those to fight against Wolverine. So overall, it's not like the best design ever. I think it is a weird looking female figure, but for Lady Deathstrike, it looks pretty dead on. So for her movements, her head can twist all the way around there. She can look down that far and up that far, so again, not too far because of her hair in the back. Shoulders come up 90 degrees and can rotate around within there. We have a bicep twist, which isn't normal for female figures, and then we have the single elbow joint that can bend up to 90 degrees there and has some rotation. We get the wrist that can twist around and flex back and forth. We don't have any ab crunch or anything, but we do have a little bit of crunch and twist at the waist, so again, can rock back and forth there and twist all the way around. Her hips can come up 90 degrees out to the side that far, thigh twist all the way around, double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. Now, Lady Deathstrike doesn't come with any accessories or anything, since her accessories are her claws, so we don't get anything to go along with her, but we do have the classic Lady Deathstrike, which looks horrible by now. I think this was the Toy Biz version, and again, the last version of Lady Deathstrike in Marvel Legends, so definitely a much needed upgrade compared to this old one that does not look very good at all anymore, and then this one definitely looks so much better. And next up, we have Arcade, which is a character I've never seen or heard of before, so this was all new to me, but I think he has a really nice, interesting design. Like, it does seem like a guy that's kind of like a nerdy villain that would try to take out some heroes, but ends up failing every single time. But he looks pretty awesome here, so he's got bright red hair, nice bright green shirt on underneath with a yellow bow tie with red polka dots, nice white suit on over the top that goes all the way down to his white shoes that are some like platform style shoes, which is pretty funny, so it will make him a little bit taller, and has the nice red details all the way around it, so it just adds that little splash of color in there. So that's what I think looks interesting, just the splash of color with the red on the shoes and then the bright green shirt and yellow bow tie just makes him stand out quite a bit, but overall I think he looks pretty nice. But Arcade is known for building Murder World, which is an underground amusement park full of death traps that he uses to exploit the weaknesses of his target, but similar to Jigsaw from the Saw series, he does leave a chance for them to survive, which most heroes do end up surviving. But for the figure's movements, his head can twist all the way around. He can look that far down, that far up. Shoulders come up just under 90 degrees because of the pad on the shoulder, but can rotate around. We got a bicep twist, a double elbow joint that can bend up on itself, so really good. And the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. And he has some sort of ab crunch in there. He can crunch a little bit forward and back. Of course, he has this solid suit piece on over the top, so it's hard to tell, but he can crunch forward and crunch back a little in there and twist all the way around at the waist. Hips come up 90 degrees out to the side that far, thigh twist all the way around, double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. And for his accessories, he does come with a cane, so nice gold cane with a blue ball on the top of it, so it feels like it'd fit perfectly in for an Arcade figure like this. So let's go ahead and just slide this down into his hand. And he comes with an additional head as well with long hair this time, so it's a nice looking face, and I think this is a head that people have been using for Cletus Cassidy on Carnage figures and stuff, because I feel this would fit and look pretty good for Cletus Cassidy. But let's go ahead and just switch the heads out. So I got the long hair version on there, and I think that does look really good. I think probably with the long hair you get more of that reddish orange color, so it kind of helps offset the white suit some more, and I think that looks really nice. So I think that'd probably be the version of Arcade I like the most for this figure, but just an interesting character and figure overall, and I think it looks really nice, so I'm glad they included it in this wave. Then next up we've got Red Skull, so again the classic look for Red Skull here, which is pretty awesome. I'm glad we got him in the classic look, and again he does share the same body with the Dormammu, so all the like main body parts are going to be exactly the same, just without the belt around his waist this time, so it has that different texture look to it with the darker green there. But he's got the all green suit from neck all the way down to his feet. Nice red skull, of course, the skull that's all red, nice bright red color too. I like the color they chose for that. Big white smile, blue eyes there. He has the Hydra logo there on the yellow patch on his arm, bright green gloves, and brown boots on his feet. So again, that old classic style, so very basic, not a whole lot to it, but I still really love this look. But for his movements, his head can twist all the way around there. He can look that far down, that far up, shoulders up 90 degrees, rotate around within there, bicep twist, double elbow joint that bends up that far on itself, and the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. We have an ab crunch and twist at the midsection, hips up 90 degrees out to the side that far, thigh twist all the way around, double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back. He can kick his own butt. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot flexes back and forth and twists side to side. So again, exact same movements that the Dormammu had. And for his accessories, we get an additional Red Skull head. So we have one just without the smile. You can still see some of his white teeth, but he's not as smiley as much. So just a little bit different look, and you can choose whichever one you like. I think I like the one with the big white smile the most. Then we get some additional hands. So he has the 2 hands with the trigger fingers on both. We then get a pair of fist hands, which of course he always needs a fist. And then also some of the grip hands, which again, like we had with Dormammu, has all the exact same sets of hands. And then he also comes with a weapon. So we got a gun here. So nice Hydra gun. So this big weird looking gun looks almost like it'd be like a flamethrower or something. I don't really know, but it's a little handgun design with the Hydra logo painted on there in yellow. So that is pretty awesome that we can add into his hands with his trigger fingers. So we got the gun in his hands. And then he also of course comes with the Tezzeract. So we got to have the Tezzeract or Cosmic Cube here. And we can put this in his hands with the use of one of the grips. So we'll go and switch this out. So we got Red Skull ready to use the powers of the Cosmic Cube. That looks pretty awesome. Now the only other comic version of Red Skull we have is this version here, which does look pretty weird. So I think this is definitely a much needed upgrade, and we could probably switch the heads out with this one to make it look a little bit better, because this has a weird looking head. So I don't like that as much as the new one that I think looks perfect for Red Skull. And our final figure of the wave is Scientist Supreme from A.I.M, and this looks pretty awesome. So it just looks like pretty much just a big A.I.M soldier, but he does have the suit of armor, very similar, at least reminiscent to me, of Iron Man. But Scientist Supreme is the top leader of A.I.M. Now multiple people have portrayed Scientist Supreme, but the one I like to go to always is Lyle Getz, because he was the very first Scientist Supreme, and he's the one that performed the MODOK experiment that created MODOK. So he's always like the main Scientist Supreme in my eyes. But I also know more recently there's been Monica Rappaccini, and then of course from that Marvel's Avengers game, you fight a lot of A.I.M agents and you meet Lyle Getz and Monica Rappaccini. So those are kind of the 2 people I choose the most for Scientist Supreme. But he looks pretty awesome here. Again, very similar to like the other A.I.M soldiers and stuff we have, which I will show. But like I said, in like armor this time, so he's like all smooth and shiny and everything. But looks pretty awesome. So has the big like drum helmet with the visors and like the mouthpiece there, but just a big giant cylinder or something on top of his head. Shoulder pads coming out of the collar piece, same design there on his chest with the blue hexagons. Again, nice shiny gold armor, black suit in the middle that you can see some legs around his abdomen and at the elbow joints. Nice belt around the waist with all sorts of pockets going around it, and this big blue thing in the center, which I think is used for like give Scientist Supreme like powers and stuff, so you can like teleport and things like that. Again, the A.I.M logos there on the back of the neck as well. So again, not like the most interesting looking figure, but it's pretty awesome to have the main leader of A.I.M here to go with like our other A.I.M soldiers and with MODOK as well. So that'll be awesome. But for the movements, head can twist all the way around. It'll look down that far and up that far, so pretty decent. Shoulders come up 90 degrees and rotate around within there. Bicep twist, double elbow joint that can bend up that far. Wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. We have ab crunch and twist in the midsection, so crunch forward, crunch back, and twist all the way around. Hips come up 90 degrees out to the side of the far. Thigh twist can twist all the way around. Of course, have this armor piece to worry about though. Double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, and the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So again, your pretty standard Marvel Legends movements. Now the only accessory Scientist Supreme comes with is this like little data pad thing. So this little data pad you can put into his hand, again like A.I.M logo there at the top, all sorts of charts and graphs and everything there, so we can just take and slide this right into his hand. So there we can have Scientist Supreme examining some charts, and then of course we can also bring in some of the other A.I.M soldiers here. Of course I chose the ones that have the similar head design with the big dome heads and stuff. Of course we have a bunch of A.I.M soldiers that we could eventually set up a whole A.I.M shelf, but I think that'll be awesome there, especially with Scientist Supreme in the front, MODOK along with him, and then all the A.I.M soldiers there in the background. I think that looks pretty awesome. And that leads us to our Build-A-Figure of Xemnu, which is this big giant white creature. It almost reminds me a lot of like Sasquatch, but has a little bit different features on him, as you can see. But Xemnu is a known enemy of the Hulk, and this is actually a character from the old Marvel horror comics from the weird science fiction tales, and this is actually the very first Marvel character ever to have the name of Hulk until Incredible Hulk came along, and then they switched the name. But Xemnu is an alien that first appeared on Earth when its starship crash landed, and he's a criminal that has been exiled into space for crimes against the universe. So he's pretty much this big alien monster that looks pretty awesome. So like I said, very similar to Sasquatch overall, which of course I forgot to grab the Sasquatch, not thinking about Xemnu, but it's pretty much like Sasquatch, but it has different hands and feet, but it is a giant all covered in white fur, and they've had some like details and shading to it. So it's blue, so like on his arms, on his chest, there in his mouth, and down on his legs and arms. So it has some colors just to break up some of that white. I like his big red eyes in there, and I like how you can see some like would be skin and stuff around it. Nice big helmet on top of his head, reminds me of like a footballer, like a Viking helmet. He has this midsection here that has some armor plating on, which I like how it looks like it's been all dented and stuff. So he's like been in some fights. Down on his feet, he's got 3 toes there, again all covered in fur, and then there on his one hand he does have like little buttons and stuff, because Xemnu does have the powers of projecting hypnotic rays that make people obedient to his will, and he also can command machinery as well. And if anything ever happens to him and he like dies or whatever, he can reform himself from just atoms by taking over the body of a new host that will then transform its appearance into into this version as well. So Xemnu's very weird, but he is a space alien, so it kind of comes with the territory. But for movements, his head doesn't have much movement. He can twist a little side to side, and then just very little up and down. So not much movements at all for his head. Shoulders can come up 90 degrees and rotate around within there. We get a bicep twist, a very stiff single elbow joint that can bend up 190 degrees, and then the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. He does have an ab crunch right in the midsection there, but with this armor piece in the front, you can't really bend too much, so he can just crunch a little back and forth there. And he does have a twist at the waist, so he can twist all the way around. Hips can come up 90 degrees there, out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around. A double knee joint that can bend up that far in the back, and then the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side a little bit. So overall, not a bad build figure. He does look a little bit dirty. Like, I don't know if you can see it very well on camera, but he's got some like yellowing there. Like, I know he's got the blue on it, but he's got some yellowing, and of course with it being all white, he is pretty dirty. Like, right out of the box, he had dirt and stuff on his feet already. He will have a lot of dirtiness and stuff to him, so we have to be careful with the white. So that's gonna be it for our Marvel Legends villain wave with the Build-A-Figure Xemnu. Such an awesome wave. We got some awesome characters I think were much needed, and then some characters thrown in that I didn't really know anything about, but I think are pretty awesome that we got them. So of course in this wave we got the God Emperor, Dr. Doom, Dormammu, Red Skull, A.I.M Scientist Supreme, Lady Deathstrike, Arcade, and the Hood. It's all very cool looking figures. Like I said, these front 5 characters here, all much needed and wanted characters in my opinion, but then the Hood and Arcade are nice add-ons that I think look really nice now that we have them. So let me know what you thought of these figures down in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed my review, please leave a thumbs up for me. And if you want to see more Marvel Legends reviews, hit that subscribe button down below. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.